Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the Update Fire and Ice dev server, and it's time to have a look at another vehicle that has popped into the files. So this isn't technically in the tech trees yet, it is just sat there in the files, but you can see it's pretty much complete. This is the Uss Fargo, or the CL-106. It is basically a light cruiser, which is coming to America at some point. This thing is technically not a Cleveland class, even though it looks exactly like a Cleveland class. This is basically a modified version of the Cleveland class. The main difference between them was this had a more compact pyramidal superstructure with a single trunked funnel intended to improve AA gun arcs of fire. It's so simple as that. This cruiser was launched in 1945, and there was supposed to be a bunch of other ones, but guess what? The war ended, so they weren't needed. So most of the plans were scrapped. But the Fargo was built. It did basically serve for about 5 years until 1950, when it was decommissioned. So simple as that. But when we have a look at it in the game, it's another one of these crazy light cruisers from America, which has so many guns on it that you are just going to get annihilated by them. The main armament on this thing is 4 triple-mounted 6-inch guns. So you've got 2 on the front here, and then also 2 on the back here. Then also, what you have on it is 6 5-inch dual mounts. So the multi-purpose 5 inches, they're in sets of 3. So 3 on the back, and then 3 on the front. The AA complement is 6 quad 40mm, 2 dual 40mm, and 12 dual 20mm. So definitely similar to what we see on a lot of other vehicles for America. You can see some of the quad mounts here on the 40s, and then some on the other side as well. It would be amazing if many planes were able to get close to this thing. You can even see on the back here, where it has the planes to launch, that it has the guns. What's kind of also interesting, so if we zoom out and go over here to my Atlanta, you can actually see the planes on the back, but since we don't have the modification, they disappear. So this thing will have planes on it if you unlock them. The 20mm are obviously just scattered around the place, just like they usually are. You can see some of them back here, the dual mounts, that are to keep the ship safe from planes. So yeah, the machine is definitely filled to the brim with guns, which means that it's filled to the brim with ammunition as well, because this is how all of this stuff works. The ammunition actually isn't that huge compared to some of the machines. It actually looks like it might be not fully finished yet. You can see the ammo elevators don't actually reach the ammo at the bottom. But remember, this thing is work in progress. It's not fully finished yet, since it isn't on the dev server even yet. You can see some of the hydroplanes. They actually have them stacked underneath, which obviously is kind of cool. I don't think I've seen that before when it comes to a ship, so that's really awesome. Maybe that's something they're adding in to the game as well. The guns themselves, the main one, the 6 inches, they obviously fire 10 rounds per minute, so they don't have a first stage, they just fire every 6 seconds. And this means that you can just continuously barrage enemies with the 6-inch guns, which is why stuff like the Helena, the Baltimore, the Brooklyn, all of these vehicles are so strong. Because you could just keep up a rate of fire, never let the enemy up, and just keep on keeping on. The targeting speed isn't great, but it is a light cruiser, so it's not too surprising. And you can see the wonderful funnel setup that they have on this machine right here, leading into 2 sets of different styles of engines, which seems really odd on the vehicle. But then again, maybe that was a design decision, or maybe it's just the X-ray that isn't finished yet. You've got the fire control and the bridge up here. The fire control system, there's a few different ones. So you've got the fire director here. It's at 93% accuracy, 10-18 seconds. I wonder if that's just a bog standard thing that they put in. But yeah, that's for the 5-inch guns, the 6-inch. Then it also has a search radar antenna up here. So it has that as well on top of it. And then some 20mm on the front. Armor-wise, this thing has 25mm of steel on the hull, and then also 17 on the superstructure. And you can see that there's definitely something weird going on with this stuff. Why is there a bunch of anti-frag armor for the search radars? I don't know, it seems a little bit odd to me. But it has 127mm very thin belt and then 82mm. I don't think this armor is correct. I think there's probably issues with it, so don't worry, I'm sure it'll be fixed. It has 152mm around the ammo elevators, 165 on the front of the guns, and around the bridge you've got 119. So a little bit of support for the crew of nearly 1,000 on this thing. But, you know, it's going to be enough to be able to cover everything while you just annihilate people with your shots. The 6-inch guns have access to pretty much everything you'd want. Starts off with a HE, then an APC-BC, then of course the HE with the base fuse and the HEVT. The APC-BC is generally the one that people go for. Would be nice if there was an interim between the HE and the APC-BC. I know you have the base fuse one, but it still doesn't pen enough to be that useful. And then of course the HEVT, just in case you want to donk planes from miles away, just tell them what it is. Then the 127s, which is the 5 inches, you have the HE, the SP, which is the AP, and then you have the HEVT as well. So you have all different scenarios that you can run with those ones as well. If you want to run them as AA, if you want to run them as ship killing stuff, it's all good. There's the hydroplane talked about before. Since this is a gun cruiser, there's no torpedoes on it, so you don't have to worry about that modification. And people will probably be asking, where will this thing be in the tree? Well, since it's a modified Cleveland class, it's probably going to go, well, right here. There you go. It's actually sat it's actually sat in the thing. So there you go, along with the Frank Knox, which is sat over here as well. So looks like those were 2 additions. It's going to be 120,000 RP to be able to use. And then also, at the same time, you can see some of the bonuses on it. But remember, that stuff changes as we go forward. So yeah, if you're interested in these types of vehicles for America, like if you've had a good time in the Brooklyn or the Helena, and you've had a good time in the light cruisers, and you're not having a great time in the heavy cruisers, then this one will probably be, you know, much better. You can see actually it does have the search radar and also the indicator on it, which is kind of nuts. So that means that you can be pretty accurate with HEVT. You can hear all the wonderful guns firing on this thing, making mincemeat of that PT boat, or at least attempting to. And this thing actually has 4 hydroplanes, which is super interesting. Really nice to see. If I can actually get them to work, but it looks like they don't want to work for me. So hopefully they'll work. I don't think we've seen these hydroplanes before, have we? These look kind of new. Sorry, there's a barrage going on. I'm trying to kill an aircraft, so let's just turn that off. These hydroplanes are incredibly modern compared to what we've seen before. So maybe that's a new model, which would be lovely to see. And everything else about it, you know, it's similar to what you've seen before with these light cruisers from America. You know, they just have high DPS, not, you know, tons of survivability, but when your DPS is through the roof, it doesn't really matter too much. You know, you can just keep firing over and over and over again, just take out pretty much whatever you want. And, you know, just, it looks like the rounds don't really have, oh no, they do have traces, I just couldn't see them. But yeah, you can just keep pushing out damage, whether it's HE, whether it's AP, and you can just keep mauling things over and over and over again with the guns, which is just, you know, super nice to do on a vehicle like this. It's why the American ships are some of the best and some of the easiest to use, because you just never have to take your finger off the trigger, and you can just keep firing over and over and over and over again. So pretty much as simple as that. It's a nice machine to see though, and it's a nice machine in the game itself. I'm hoping that people enjoy this one. You know, I know it's another kind of block in the way of getting some of the other machines, but I've just got to say, these machines are super fun. You know, they're super nice to play, so I'm sure people will enjoy them going forward. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R, Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.